Hello, hello, my friends. Another dedicated candle review for you today. We are going to be talking about country candle, coconut, and blueberry tart. Now, this week, you guys may notice that a lot of the candles that I have been reviewing are not necessarily new fragrances. Some of these fragrances have been around for quite some time. This candle falls into that category. Coconut and Blueberry Tart, I believe, was launched in the spring and summer collection back in 2023. So this candle has been around for approximately 2 years. Like I said, this is part of the country candle lineup, which we know is eventually being phased out over at Kringle. This is the medium 2-wick vessel. It is a 100% soy wax. I feel like this collection, that spring 2023 collection, was the first one that they did where they had fully transitioned country candle from a paraffin wax over to this 100% soy wax. And I actually have had this fragrance in the past, and I did recently repurchase this candle. I believe it was during the Mother's Day BOGO sale. At the time that I am filming this review, which is on, what day is this? Wednesday. So I'm planning to put this up on Thursday. What would that be? June 19th. Here's the thing with this candle. Currently, this is part of the medium wick. They have a buy one, get one sale going on over on the Kringle website. So long story short here, which it wasn't very a short story, I did want to start focusing on giving some reviews on my channel for fragrances that have been around for a while, if they are in my collection, particularly with country candle and any kind of, well, I mean, any fragrances, but really focusing on country candle as I have them in my collection, because there might be some interest in purchasing these candles before they permanently go away in this format. We've heard rumors that some of the fragrances might transition over to Kringle. But yeah, I just wanted to have documented thoughts on my channel for a lot of these candles, as I'm sure we will start to be seeing a lot of sales as they try to kind of push this line out of the way to make room for new stuff. So let's go ahead and talk about this specific candle. Coconut and Blueberry Tart has fragrance notes. Top notes are listed as blueberry, plum, butter, orange, peach. Mid notes, coconut, cinnamon, jasmine, and raspberry. Base notes of almond, vanilla, caramel, and musk. Now, this specific candle that I'm reviewing today has a pour date of November 5th, 2024. Okay, so this is a fragrance that I feel like is very well loved within the Kringle community. I think a lot of people are surprised by how much they enjoy this fragrance, myself included. This fragrance, I think a lot of people, they don't really know what to expect, because you see coconut and blueberry, and that's kind of, I would say, a little bit of an interesting combination. And then you mix in that this is like in like a pastry shell. But what my nose picks up here is definitely the depth and richness of blueberry. It is interesting that they list plum as a note in there too, because this is more, I do smell the blueberry in here mixed with maybe a little bit of a darker fruit, which would, to my nose, would make sense to be a plum. The mid notes of coconut, cinnamon, jasmine, and raspberry, I would say the mid notes that I pick up in here are probably that coconut and the raspberry. I don't get really cinnamon or jasmine. There's nothing floral to this in my opinion. This is a very, very fruit forward type of fragrance. So if you are somebody who likes a very fruity gourmand, definitely more, again, fruit forward than any kind of like pastry note, then I think that you're really going to like this. Is there a pastry note in here? Yes, it's in the base note, but again, it's not as dominant to my nose as, say, the cherry pie fragrance that was recently released. Goodness, what was that? Maybe about a month ago now. Cherry pie has a more distinct buttery, flaky pastry note in it to my nose. I know I've seen some other people say that they don't get that, and I'm like, oh, interesting. My nose does pick up on that. But in here, I do get a little bit of the pastry note, but again, it's still definitely more fruit forward. I would say the most prominent notes to me are blueberry mixed with a raspberry, plum, and coconut. I feel like that's kind of the fruit mixture that my nose picks up on the most. It is a very, I wouldn't say that it's as tart as, say, like a cranberry type of fragrance, but there is a little bit of punchiness to this fragrance, I would say. It reminds me a little bit, not Not entirely the same, but there's something about this fragrance that's kind of in that same vein of sharpness as the 1990s, early 2000s Bath and Body Works Sun Ripened Raspberry. If you liked kind of that tanginess, not yogurt tanginess, not like that, but just there's a little bit of like sharpness that was in that fragrance. That's what this candle kind of reminded me of. Again, not the same fragrance, but just that initial kind of like tanginess. That's the best way that I can describe it. That old school Bath and Body Works Sun Ripened Raspberry had. That's what I detect in this fragrance. I do like it. I really, really enjoy the fragrance. But let's go ahead and talk about the performance. So this candle has actually been burning for goodness, probably going on about 5 hours now. I did extinguish it about an hour and a half ago and trim the wicks. And then you can see that I relit it, and the wicks probably need to be trimmed again because the wicks are pretty thick here on this one. I would suggest, keep an eye on these wicks because they do want to develop some excess carbon at the end. And then of course you're seeing a little bit of sooting going on around the rim here. So the best way to kind of alleviate that is to keep your eye on this. And you can always just dip the wicks out or blow them out, trim the wicks, and then relight. But I've got a pretty decent deep wax pool going here. Here's the thing with this fragrance, you guys. For this being as strong as it is on cold, as tart as it is on cold, I am actually finding that the strength and throw on this is a little bit disappointing. I would give this one about a 5 in terms of strength and throw. The fragrance does not project out in my open concept living room, but it does very well in my master bedroom. Now, that being said, it takes a little while to get going in the bedroom. I notice that this is not a fragrance that instantaneously starts throwing. I usually don't really detect it until it's about 45 minutes to an hour into the burn. The good news is that the longer it burns, the stronger it becomes. But I will say that this one, even out in the open concept after having it lit for about 3 hours, I still have a difficult time smelling it out in the open concept. So that part I think is really, really disappointing because like I said, I really enjoy the fragrance. It is a more unique fragrance. I do think that that is probably an area where Kringle excels. They do tend to be a little bit more conceptual. They do tend to go a little bit outside of the box. Not all of their fragrances are like your run of the mill, what you would find with some of the other big box candle companies, which is something that I appreciate about Kringle. But it can also be a little bit risky because, unless you live close to their store in Massachusetts, you usually can't smell these before you commit to purchasing. So I do understand that, but the strength and throw, I want to be more in this. I will say that because it's only at about a 5 for me, and like I said, I like it in the bedroom. I will burn it in there. Sometimes I'll pop it into a hurricane, but I have been burning this alongside Sea Breeze out in the open concept, and that provides a nice combo. I feel like this would also be a really nice fragrance. Like if you have a closed concept kitchen, this would be a great kitchen fragrance. But overall, you guys, simply because of the performance of this in terms of the strength and throw, I don't see this one being a repurchase for me. Like I said, I have had this in the past. I remembered liking it, but it's funny when I was doing that BOGO purchase, I was thinking, why haven't I bought this again? And now I am remembering it is probably because I didn't find the strength and throw to be worth the repurchase. So I'm glad that I only purchased it in the medium vessel. It's okay, like in terms of like I'll be happy with it. I'll continue to burn it. I will burn it out. But now that I know, like, oh yeah, it's because the strength and throw wasn't really where I desired it to be. That's probably why I wouldn't repurchase it. The fragrance in and of itself, I would repurchase it for the fragrance, but not for the performance. So I hope this review helps you out. Let me know in the comment box down below if this is one of your favorite fragrances. I know a lot of people just have recently discovered this one and said like, wow, this is a really great fragrance. So let me know in the comment box down below if yours has been performing better for you, particularly if you have this in the large vessel. I'm wondering if it's because it's in the medium vessel that it's not performing as well. But yeah, let me know in the comment box down below. Please hit thumbs up if you found this review helpful. Consider subscribing to my channel if you are new. I do want to say thank you so very, very much for spending your time here with me today. And until my next one, I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day. Bye.